All right, so this is Derek here with Blank Canvas Studio, and I'm excited. We have an amazing interview today with Snoop Robinson. Man, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, man.
Good, man. Good.
Glad to be here, man.
I had the opportunity to work with him last year. Learned a lot. Had fun on set, and so I said, you know what? I want to pop this thing off by bringing him in and learn some more about him. Like I said, he's a Dallas legend. Yeah, I just want to expose you to the talent that we have in the city. So
you have to be careful about saying exposed, though.
Oh, bad.
You have to be careful about saying exposed. You know, you can't say exposed. You know, you may be something you're trying to expose something. You can't do that.
No. We keeping it light. Man.
Okay, all right. Well, cool. Go ahead. Go with it.
I want to introduce the song.
There you go.
And reintroduce or bring to light others about this I call them young man. They got mad at me when I called them when I tell old heads.
Yeah, I'm not old school yet.
We get but
that's another interview.
But you're from Dallas. For those who aren't Dallas, just tell us a little bit about like where you're from, what high school, stuff like that. Just tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I am Dallas based. I went to South Oak Cliff High School. Went to Bow Story Middle School, Clinton P. Russell Elementary. I've been in Dallas all my life. I was actually born and raised here. My mom is from Oklahoma. I've been in the entertainment business for probably over 30-something years now. But I really got involved in it when I was at Bow Story Junior High School. That's when I started learning how to play piano. I didn't realize I was one of those, play by ear type of guys. So I would watch my piano instructor play the piano. So I would just watch to see what she do, and then next thing you know, she was like, "Hey, I want you to play this song." She'd put the music up and all that. I'm like, "Okay, well, let me hear what it sounds like." So I'm watching her. Hey, remind me of Drumline. You remember Drumline? That type of concept.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So I would do the same thing. I would say, "Hey, just play it for me. Let me hear it." And I would listen and watch her hands, and I would play. She said, "Man, you are really good. You got potential." Until she told me to sight read. Then it was over. I said, after that, I had to start focusing. But I like I said, I'm Dallas-based. Played football for SOC. Played for the Dragons. Those that know what, the Pee Wee League Dragon team. I've been around the entertainment for a minute, though. I've enjoyed myself.
So what inspired the film, just from a childhood? So like what inspired you? Because I grew up in Dallas as well, and like I said, it was sports or just hustling or whatever it was. What
Right.
made you? What was there anything from your childhood that led to that? Or was it later on in life that you decided to pick up the camera? Was it church? What inspired
I
you?
would say a little bit of both, because I was around the drugs. I had homeboys that were hustling. That was even smoking and snorting all that stuff. But I was scared of my mom for one thing. That kind of deterred me away from it. But at the same time, I was always around it. What kind of inspired me, it was a guy by the name of Elbert Taylor. They call him E.T. Phenomenal musician. He's a legend in the music industry. I mean, he's been around forever. I mean, phenomenal guy. So he used to play for the church that I played at the time. I mean, I was attending at the time, and that kind of inspired me to start being a musician. My mom, back in the day, we didn't have a lot of money. So what she tried to do was do extracurricular activities. So sporadically, that's when stage plays and theaters the urban side start coming out, where you had the David E. Talberts, the Shelley Garretts, and all them. She would take us out to go see, me and my brother, to go see these shows. And the inspirational portion of seeing live theater or live movie on stage really kind of blew me away. So it started inspiring me to do the film. I mean, I wasn't film completely yet. I was more theater and musician. I had the opportunity of, opening up for Prince when he came and performed at the Forest Theater. Kim, all these other big artists. So that kind of built me on the musical side. And as I started doing that, I was still doing theater and started building and building. So really my inspiration came from church. That kind of pushed it. And then my mom actually, like I say, took us to some of the other theatrical elements to kind of take me to that next level.
Okay. And I saw, man, you played sports back in the day.
Yeah, I played.
I saw that in your bio.
Yeah.
How good was you?
I felt like I was very good. I was to me I was better as a tailback. I had a coach. I forgot his name because it really hurt my heart. He wanted to break me, so he put me at defensive end. Go figure. So I started playing defensive end. He was like, okay, this little joker here is not going to break, and I ended up showing him that, hey, I had heart, more so than anything, more so than the size. And that was one of my biggest dreams and I think it's one of all our dreams as kids to be in some type of national league, whether it's football or basketball. And God saw something different, I wanted to go to TJC in Tyler to play football. My coach wouldn't give me my footage, so I didn't get to attend TJC. I ended up going to Cedar Valley. And as it started building, like I say, God had another plan for me to be more of the entertainment side. I still miss it to this day. I'll be like, man, I would love to get on that field and hit, but my young self now,
Yeah.
I don't think I can take them hits like I used to, what I'm saying?
Yeah. That makes sense.
But that that's kind of the drive though.
Okay. So then, let's fast forward. Okay, so you mentioned music. At what point, when it came to, first of all, would you say that you lean more towards the play or film side, or just a little bit of both?
I would say a little bit of both. Where's my passion? Theater.
Okay. Yeah.
Theater would be passion because of the live reaction you have, the interaction with people. Film, you shoot for 4 or 5 months, you edit for another 4 or 5 months, you don't see it till a year later, if that. Yeah. And with the play, you can go in rehearsal for about 3 months and then put it on stage and put it up, and you get the energy of the people in the audience right then and there, and you can react and change your dynamics of whoever that character is and change all of that vibe to really interact with the audience. So if it's a comedic character, you can make it more comedic. If it's a dramatic person, you can be an aggressive dramatic person because of the oohs, the ahs. Oh, I hate him. It's just something about that energy. Now, when it comes to film, I love film because you can paint a different type of picture. It's like an empty canvas that you don't have anything on it. So now you're building all of these elements to this film project and putting it all together from music to sound to lighting crew to script supervisor. Then when you go to edit, now you're doing color correction, cleaning up audio. It's a bigger piece that creates this whole vibe when you look at theater and film. But I mean that would be my main passion. But I love them both. I really love them both.
Okay. And what, I guess, because see me, I started doing this when I was about 27. I'm 32 now. And it was something I always did when it came to like the film side of things, like in little ways. But I didn't really realize it was going to be literally my life now. Like everything is associated around it. But so at what point did you really seriously delve into the plays and the film side of things? And even more so, how did you learn to do it?
Okay.
Because they didn't have YouTube back then. They didn't have YouTube when I was a kid.
No, they didn't. So what's interesting is in high school, I wanted to do an extra project for extra credit. And there was a sex prevention program that I was doing. So they had a VHS camcorder. I'm just telling what happened there. And I ain't telling my age, but it was a VHS camcorder, and they had it for the room. And I asked them, I said, hey, can I shoot a sex prevention video for that? And turn around, I did that. She gave me 110 credits just because I thought out the box, first of all. But for me, I think that was my introduction to the video world. I just didn't know it yet. So when I got into, I would say my aggression with plays probably was 94, 93-ish. Films, aggressively, probably 2010, 2009. And what made me go more aggressive into film was my disappointment in allowing people that haven't had the exposure that the celebrities have had. I did a play called She's Not Our Sister, and we sold it out. We sold out 4,000 seats, which was amazing. I was like in awe. You know, we had to turn people away. That's how amazing it was. But 2 weeks later, I get a call from a guy that helped me promote it, the Silent Partner. He was like, man, you know, they want to put it on television. So I'm like, cool. I think that'd be a great idea. Let's do it. Let's go for it. You know, it's a great opportunity. But my problem I had was they wouldn't allow the local talent or the talent I would say that don't have as much exposure get to be in it. They wanted to use those that had exposure and had IMDb credits get to be in the project. And I was like, man, after I did that, I was really bothered because I'm like, they wasn't the one that helped me sell the show out.
Right.
It was the talent I had here that actually helped me sell the show out. So all that, I mean, fast forward, we end up doing the project, and I'm like, well, shoot, I can do this myself. Let's try it. You know, I've dabbled in it so much. I've done video work because I mean, I started video because I had done commercials, had Texas Lottery commercials, Stone Mountain Carpet. I've done a lot of stuff before then, but I was on the other side. So this white guy named Randy Torno. We was shooting Texas Lottery commercial, and for some reason I had the opportunity. He really had taken a liking into me, and he was like, man, I really want to help you build what you're building. So I ended up shooting the commercial. I don't know if you know a guy by the name Sean Martin. Me and Sean Martin I asked the guy, I said, hey, can we produce the music for the Texas Lottery commercial? And they're like, all right, we'll give you a chance. It was I think the Kings group that was actually over that particular, the urban area. So I ended up doing the music for it, the urban, and we did a Latino version. Me and Sean stayed up like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning trying to get this done because we had turned around. They ended up picking the urban version. They wanted the Latino version, but they didn't pick it only because they had somebody else that they promised to use the music, but they liked ours better. Right. So ended up building from that. So I've always been into the film, but I was always on the other side. So Randy Torno had gave me the opportunity. He was like, man, it was a Canon XL camera back then that I was using. Canon XL and then Premiere, this is like 0.1. You know? It was like a 0.1. This is when Premiere really just came out. You had Avid and another version. I think Final Cut, I'm not familiar with Final Cut as much then, but I know Avid was like the industry standard. So he ended up giving me the opportunity to learn behind him. So I wanted to shoot my homeboy's wedding. It was in June. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I use your camera? I said, no, will you help me shoot? He said, no, I'm not helping you do anything. I'll give you the camera, and I'll give you the Premiere to be able to edit with. And from then on, that made me push to that next level. And he was shooting commercials. He was shooting high-end production stuff. So he was just like, no, I'm going to push you in it. And the rest is history, man. The rest is history from that. But that's how I really dove into the filming side. And that, like I said, that had the filming side, that probably was like in late 96. But I got aggressive with it more probably on the film side, probably 2009, 10, somewhere around there.
Okay, good. So then when it comes to these projects, you kind of already mentioned She's Not My Sister. What are some projects that I guess it had an impression on you, whether it was some good things, some bad things, maybe it didn't turn out the way you wanted to. Like what are some projects that you just, 2 or 3 projects that you could think of that was just kind of stands out to you one way or the other?
I would say one of my most favorite projects that I've done was Unexceptional Love. And the reason being, it wasn't the typical story, but at the same time, it wasn't the best filmed project. Okay. It was one of those, I was just getting out there, just trying to get started aggressively. But the project, it was about a young daughter that was going through mental. She was a mentally challenged child, and her mother didn't take care of her the way she should. She disowned her because she was like, okay, I got a cousin, I got a homegirl that's having kids like crazy, and all of them are good kids. I mean, ain't nothing wrong with the kids. But I do it right. I got married, did it by the Bible, didn't have sex until marriage, and blah blah blah. Then you turn around, my kid is not, what I feel like the child should be. But God gave you a child regardless. And the whole premise behind that project, when I wrote it, was just showing how it's not always, and this is what bothers me about a lot of projects in general, it always shows the negative in the men and doesn't show, there's a lot of women out there that is not taking care of their kids. It's across the board, but it always shows that we're the unfit. We're not doing what we need to do as a man to take care of our kids. And I wanted to show that, there are women out there, but then also show how good a man can be, no matter how their child is, that he really wants to take care of his kid. And the flip side of that, sometimes there's a blessing in disguise in things that we think are issues. And that child that they had was a blessing in disguise. It was showing her, one, how to be stronger as a mother, as a woman, and as a person, and showing how tight they need to have their relationship. The child ended up passing, never to say the less. And what happened was there was a cousin that ended up passing, and their child was left homeless, where it prepared her to be a mother now to somebody else's child and show them how to be a family. So sometimes there's a blessing in disguise, and that was one of my most favorite projects because it didn't deal with, quote unquote, the negativity in life. That was reality.
Yeah.
That happens, and people are going through that to this day. Like, okay, why my child is not perfect, but you don't realize your child is still breathing. You still have a child. There's people that can't even have kids, and you have this opportunity. So that was one of my favorite ones. I think my second one would probably be She's Not Our Sister.
Okay.
Because it was inspirational too. It was an inspirational project. That by the guy Johnny Johnson wrote the project, and I did it. I actually toured it with him back in '93. I was the second MD on that show, and then I really liked it. Then I came back to him back in 2011. And said, "Man, I really want to rewrite your show with the same content, but bring it up to date today's time." And like I said, that was probably one of the other better ones that I really enjoyed. Now, I don't get me wrong, I've done some projects that I like, but those would be probably my favorite because they were more inspirational than more so, the negative energy that we give in our communities than the norm. So,
would you say that you have a target audience, so to speak? Like we've seen the Tyler Perrys, we've seen the Spike Lees, we've seen a lot of different people like that. Is there a audience that when you're sitting down writing anything, or when you choose to accept the project or not, is there something that goes into the process as far as the audience that you want to see it, or, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, it does. I would say theater-wise, yes. Theater, I always want something to end with an inspirational note or a teaching moment.
Right.
A lot of films don't technically do that. They try to, but they don't all the time. When it comes to film projects, some of them are a job, and then some of them are, I really like this project. So I wouldn't say more so with film, but theater, yes. Because at the end of the day, I want people walking out of that theater saying, man, this really touched my heart. And I would say I probably need to be more aggressive with that with the film, but it's a little bit harder with film because it's a bigger audience you have.
Yeah.
Versus theater, you can do a tour, and tour maybe 150,000 people technically within a tour. Compared to film, you can hit 2 or 3 million in one day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a little different personal connection when it comes to that portion.
Okay. Another quick question, then. Um, she had to choose one, man. This is life or death situation. If you had to choose writer, producer, or I'm sorry, writer, musician, actor, or director. If you had to pick one, he said, "Hey, man, you can only direct, you can only write, you can only
That's a
be a
tough
musician,
question.
you can only act."
Honestly, even though I don't do it all the time anymore, I'd say play, be musician. And the reason I say that is because it's a zone that nobody can take away from you. You can sit in the room and sit down and play keyboard or piano and be relaxed. You can be in this mode. I love jazz. I love jazz music. So me just sitting down at a piano and just put on some music and just play with it or just play myself, it takes you in a world that nothing else can really do. So I would say musician.
Okay.
And even though I don't do it as much as I used to, I would say a musician.
Yeah, it's definitely peace. Music is peace, and I can see why everything else kind of takes a lot more work.
Yeah.
A lot of other things to think about. A lot of times you have your getaways from the work.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
because even me, I'm trying to find some things, even within the world of photography, to rest from. Like I might just go travel and just do some landscape just to get away. But after I build some stuff, I still have my camera, another vein, but I'm not thinking about clients. I'm not thinking about anything like that. So I definitely understand that.
Exactly.
So a few more questions. So your support system, who does that include? And you know, what do they do? Your support system. They could be, you know, people you work with, family, something like that.
So support system. I guess what are your meanings of support of you know, helping with projects are the ones that's always there. When I have a project, what do you mean by support?
It can be both. It's more so like a shout out to certain people in your life. It could be like say your family, certain coworkers, like who helps you, who's helping you for the most part build this.
I would say my backbone support would probably be, well, wouldn't probably, but it would be my wife and my daughter. They would be the strongest. Then my mom and my brother. You know, you always say you had that number one fan that's going to tell you whether it's good, bad, you've done wrong, you've done good, whatever case may be, and that's my daughter. She's one of my biggest, you know, cheerleaders, but she's also one of my biggest critics. So I can bring her a project and she's not going to sugarcoat me like, Dad, this sucks. You know, you really need to revamp. And I think those type, and I have a couple of other people that I think are those, because in our industry, I don't want the yes person. I don't need the yes person because at the end of the day, we have to grow with each other. And if you're not helping me, now, I don't need the yes person if it's genuine. There's a difference between somebody that wants to just be negative and always talking about the negative versus that's genuinely talking, hey, man, you might want to take this shot, or you might want to light it this way as a photographer, or you might want to, you know, change your aperture, or, you know, or play this song genuinely versus, man, you know what, you know, that song sucked for the score. You know, you should have just used my artist. Okay, why should I use your artist? Your artist would it, you know what I'm saying? So I think those type of people I stay away from, and I get in a little, I tend to just hush and let them talk. But my biggest would probably be my daughter Jordan, my wife, my mom, my brother, and I do want to kick shout out to my brother because he's really doing some major things himself. He's got, you know, sound company, LED lighting company. I mean, there's nothing you couldn't get from the bigger companies, sound companies that are out there that you can't get from him. He travels all over.
By the way, what's his name for the camera?
Jason Robinson, Sound Design Studio. But he has everything. He's played with. His resume just as big as mine. I mean, you know, I'm really proud of him. He's had the opportunity to engineer for Janet Jackson, Prince, know some of the top legends, you know, and more. But yeah, that was a name drop. That was a name. No. But extremely proud of him. But that's another one that's always in my corner. And like I said, I've got a couple of friends that I could name, but if I name them, then it'd be like, you didn't name me, so I won't name. I just name family.
Okay, that makes sense. What's kind of next? What's your vision? 5, 10 years. What's the goal? Like I said, what or how do you want to impact? Your how's your legacy? Like, what do you want to leave behind? Okay. Whatnot.
So early, I started with the IMDb credit issue. I guess my biggest legend would be knowing that I've given folks opportunities. Mm-hmm. I've opened doors for other folks, because sometimes it's not always about you. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we get so caught up into ourselves and not sharing, and it's not always just wealth. It's opportunities. And that would be one of my biggest things, because what I was saying earlier was that with the IMDb credit, they wouldn't allow somebody to be on there. So I started doing more films to create resumes for people around me. Gotcha. So now, if you look at IMDb, this person's have IMDb credits, so now they can't say, well, they don't have any credits. That's a lie, because they got multiple credits from working behind the set, from being a script supervisor to a gaffer, whatever the case is. Excuse me. From being able to do all these different things, those are opportunities that I've given, are put people in the position to have opportunities, because at the end of the day, opportunity is only given if you want to receive it. And that would be my biggest piece, outside of all the films and outside all the plays and things that I've done. Giving opportunities would probably be the biggest piece that I would stick with.
Okay. And I guess last question, what would you say to inspire both the people of Dallas and then actors, directors anywhere, the young kid or that person who's a little older trying to start out? Like, what would you give advice to kind of just, different groups of people when it comes to this game?
So I guess the biggest part would be yourself, one. Don't be selfish. Learn your craft. There's too many things out there now that you can learn from YouTube. There's books. There's people around you that you can actually talk to get the information. I think we get so caught up with the best project versus the best content versus, okay, how can I bring this together and create a great team to create a great project to make something that everybody enjoys? Because I hate to say it, everything we do is not the best, point blank. But, and I say that to say, the more you do it, the better you get, the better your project is. Because there's a lot of artists out there that even directors that still feel like their project is not the best yet. And if you start thinking that you're the best and start thinking that the project's the best, you have no growth. So if you have no growth, guess what? You ain't gonna go nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with having confidence, but sometimes you gotta be careful about the ego. And that's one of the things that bothers me more about actors and actresses that haven't done anything, and directors that haven't had, the resume that they have. They get so cocky because they've done one project or two, and they don't realize you can still grow from it, and they let their ego push them to the side versus being confident. It's the difference between confident and just egotistical. Right. And I feel that one of the biggest things, study your craft, learn from others, listen, because there's a lot that you can learn by just listening more so than speaking. So listen to those around you, and you can learn from anybody. You can learn from those that haven't been in the field that long, and you can learn from those that have, because the thing about the new people that are coming up, they have learned tricks of the trade because they don't have the gear or the equipment to be able to do those things compared to those like myself. I was dealing, when I used to do radio back in the day, and I had a reel-to-reel that we had to splice to cut commercials. Don't do it. Don't do it. We talked about that earlier. Let's keep going. But we had to splice the reel-to-reel to actually edit our commercials. A 30-second commercial. It's like crazy. Now we got Pro Tools, audio edition. You've got all these different music stuff, Fruity Loops, all that stuff now, to where you can create. It's anybody can make it happen. So now my thing is, okay, how can I learn these different techniques from everybody and put them all in mind and create your own, and also create your own lane. Create your own lane, learn from others, build who you are, not who they are, and always keep the best company around you. You don't want the negative energy. You have negative energy, you're gonna be a negative person. So if I feel negative energy, I push them to the side and build from there. But keep going, keep looking forward, and be strong at what you do.
Man, that's all we got here today. Hopefully we can bring you back and maybe talk about some other projects next time you come back. But man, I appreciate you.
Appreciate
for coming
you, man.
through.
Appreciate you, Doc.
Snoop Robinson here with Derek Chambers at the Blank Canvas Studios. Keep with us.
Yeah, I gotta come check out the spot though, dog. I'm telling you.
Please come check it out. I didn't want to say it.
It's
Since
fire.
he said it, please come check out.
It's fire. I wish y'all could see what's behind me. It's dope, dog.
Stay with us.